sir. Thank you, sir, for addressing our students. Can I now start the session?
Sure, please.
Thank you. A very good morning, everyone. I, Rutuja, warmly welcome you to Manthan 2023 flagship BFSI conclave. Manthan is a conclave of discussions and deliberation with stalwarts of various industries. As we open the BFSI chapter of Manthan, a two-day conclave, we will be discussing a myriad of topics. The sectors of banking, finance, services, and insurance are seeing fast-paced disruptions and innovations. With leaders at the helm of these changes, we will live the past, present, and future of these sectors. Let me take this opportunity to walk you through the conclave. These 2 days will include keynotes on niche topics of BFSI. It will also include a series of panel discussions and a fireside chat, debating and discussing various challenges and opportunities under the BFSI umbrella. Manthan will provide an ideal platform for students to interact with the industry experts and ask questions to experts in the BFSI sectors. Thank you, Santosh sir, for addressing the students and officially inaugurating the Manthan 2023. The first session for today is a keynote address by Dr. Munish Sabharwal. Sir, we welcome you to Manthan 2023. It is a pleasure to have you here with us today. Dr. Munish will be addressing us into the broader sectors of economic reforms and liberalization, financial sector developments like evolution of SEBI guidelines, transition from simple IPOs to book building, and currency dynamics with a global perspective. We will be having a 45 minutes of discussion, followed by a question and answer session of 15 minutes. Sir, with your permission, I would like to formally introduce you and your organization to the batch.
Welcome, please.
Dr. Munish Sabharwal is the Managing Director of Nexdigm, an employee-owned, privately held, independent global organization that helps companies across geographies meet the needs of a dynamic business environment. Prior to working with Nexdigm, Dr. Munish has worked with BCCL, Times of India, Grand Capital, IDBI Group, JM Morgan Stanley, and a number of other established organizations. He is a renowned alumnus of SIBM Pune and also has a PhD in alternative medicine from the University of Florida. He has had an illustrious career of more than 30 years and has been presented the Best Employees Award in Times of India 2007. Along with this, he also likes to read, travel, and indulge in philosophy in his spare time. I now request Dr. Sabharwal to please take over the session and address our eagerly waiting audience.
And thank you very much, Ruchita. Thanks for your introduction. I hope I'm audible. It's absolutely
Yes,
fine.
sir.
Great.
Yes, sir, you're audible.
Thank you very much. I would like to thank Dr. Santosh Gopalakrishnan for giving me the honor to basically give the 46th annual conclave prestigious keynote address. Thank you very much, Dr. Santosh. I would like to thank Dr. Radhakrishnan Ramanan, Director of SIBM, Dean of Faculty of Management, and I wish him all the best in terms of his health is concerned. I understand he is a bit indisposed. I also remember Dr. S.B. Majumdar, founder and president of the Symbiosis Society, who was the founder at our time also, 31 years back. I wish to acknowledge his efforts in terms of creating this institution. And I would like to also thank my director of my batch of 1992, Dr. Squadron Leader George Judah. So Dr. Squadron Leader George Judah was a gentleman who basically helped us to shape our personalities, gave us a lot of insights. And I will start with something which he had told us, and I remember it, and I have used it in my life. He had told us very clearly that if you marry one function, assuming you are a finance person or you're a marketing person, then you will not really reach at a CEO level or beyond. You need to be having love for business. And having love for business means having a equal insight and an equal perspective, whether it is HR function, it is IT function, it is a production function, it is a finance function, or it is a marketing and sales function, or any other function which is evolving. So a specialist can go only up to a particular level, but only somebody who has a taste of every aspect can see the holistic picture. This is what he had shared at that point of time, and that is something which got into me. I did my MBA in marketing 1992, and I came back again to do my MBA in finance, basically going by the inspiration of this. This dual specialization and being in love with anything which had a business connotation was really very helpful. And I'm very thankful to Symbiosis, my alma mater, for having contributed to wherever I am, and then myself being in a position to contribute to the society. From there, I joined J. Morgan Stanley. I was there for 11 years. And from there, I moved to IDBI Capital Markets, where I was heading investment banking. And then I moved as a head of mergers and acquisitions with the Times Group. And then I was the chief investment officer with Brand Capital, which is the Times of India Group company. And currently, I have the privilege of working at Nexdigm. And this is a multinational organization, just like the business, the same business as the big five. And we are spread all over the world. So quickly coming to the topic of the day, without taking much of your time. Topic is Manthan, right? So Manthan is something which basically is Samudra Manthan, when there was a war between the Asuras and the Devtas in the pursuit for the Amrit, or the exceller of life, right? And so when that Manthan took place, a lot of things came up. And the first thing which came out was poison, right? So net of the whole thing is that whenever you are trying to achieve anything good in life, there would be tough challenges, there would be problems, and that will happen. And that is something which we have to accept and take it by the way. So I will basically take you to the Manthan journey of the Indian economy. Finance is definitely the lifeblood and the nervous system. So everywhere I will talk about what happened. And I would like to share with you in the very beginning that you are sitting in the seat now, 2022, 2032, 42, 52, say 58 is the time when you retire. 2058 is the time when you retire. Let me share with you, you can mark my words. India, in terms of GDP is concerned, would probably be number 2 in the world. So all I'm trying to tell you is, we are already number 5. In the next 2 years, or 3 years, or 4 years, we will be number 4 or even number 3. As per as the Morgan Stanley report, Rhythm Desai, this is normally accepted. So we are likely to be from a $3.5 trillion economy to an economy of approximately 7.5, 8 trillion by the next 10 years, right? Now the beauty of the whole thing is, if you see the first $1 trillion economy, we became the first $1 trillion economy in approximately 67 years. 67 years, right? The next $1 trillion, that is 2 trillion, we became in the next 8 years. And the third trillion came in 5 years. First $1 trillion economy in 67 years. Second trillion, 8 years. Third trillion, 5 years. I hope you're getting the message. Try to understand the speed, try to understand the pace, right? But also one thing I would like to share with you, that many of us do not have a sense of history. Many of us do not have a very good sense of reading. Please don't make that mistake at all. If you do not love history, start loving history, because history gives you so many lessons. that it can really catapult your growth trajectory to a different level altogether. Our problem is that we have been told history, learning dates, learning events, but that is not the point. The idea is to understand from lessons. Today's history is, as it is developing, is geopolitics. And I will tell you how geopolitics and business are just one in one all over the world. I will go and start from 1750 very quickly. So 1750 and before, India was having 25-26% of the world GDP. Okay? And if you go 1,000 years back, the GDP was almost 35%. Now, what am I trying to say? I'm trying to say something very simple. By the law of averages and the DNA which you are holding, each of you who is an Indian, this blip which had come in because of the British invasion having happened of India, East India Company having taken over, wherever a GDP had come to decimal level, now it is again bouncing back. The way I told you the GDP is moved in the next 5 years, 8 years, and vis-a-vis the last 67 years, it is now going to be a propelling thing, and it is going to be moving towards the direction of 24-25%, maybe in 40 years, 50 years, whatever it is. Are you with me? Yeah. So this is a very major macro statement. I'm saying law of averages. It has to happen, and the DNA of this country, DNA of this people will propel it. Right? Now, I will quickly do a 2 minutes type of a thing. Come straight to 1991 is a time when I was in Symbiosis, and thick of thing, Manmohan Singh on 28th of July had come and presented the budget. What was the scenario in that time? It is important for you to understand the effort made in the last 30 years, or maybe in the last 75 years. Manmohan Singh, when he came, just to share with you, India was in a situation of bankruptcy, financial bankruptcy. We were under debt burden of IMF, just the same situation as Pakistan is today. We had to pledge 42 tons of national gold reserves. National gold reserve in the RBI, we had to pledge to the Bank of England. Right? And in lieu of that, how much did we get? We just got something like $240 million. That's it. You can imagine the crisis at that point of time. When Manmohan Singh presented the budget on 28th of July 1991, he said no power can stop whose idea whose time has come. He quoted Victor Hugo. Right? And he said, we shall overcome and we shall prevail. This is what he said. Right? Today we are in a very good situation vis-a-vis what it was. Our financial balances, our reserves were less than $1 billion. Today it is like $600 billion. Now 600 divided by 1 and see the percentage, and you see where it is coming to. Look at the growth which has happened. That was the time when our Sensex was around about 2,500, 3,000 Sensex. It is 65,000 now, 66,000 now. 66,000 divided by 3,000 and see the percentage where it is. National Stock Exchange did not even exist. It is important to understand and respect the people who have churned around, and every generation has given it. And likewise, you are also expected to give that, right? To humanity, to this country, wherever. I'll share with you the gist of what the budget was so that you can get an idea. It was propelled around what IMF had told to India. IMF had told to India they were, they had given 25 conditions. And it was basically based around LPG. You have the LPG gas cylinder. So L stood for you have to do liberalization. P was for privatization. And G was for globalization. Right? Today, you don't even think about these things. Liberalization, essentially speaking, they wanted that you need to liberalize the economy. At that time, there was qualitative restrictions which were there in terms of producing. You could not produce more than so many cars. You could not produce beyond so many telephones. You could not produce, because that was, everything was done by the government. Each and every bank rate was controlled by the government. You know, in 1960s, 1970, to get a radio, you had to take a license. So they said you liberalize, you privatize. Privatize means all the public sector undertakings, you need to privatize, you start disinvesting. The government took a rule that 20% will give it to mutual funds. And then industrial policy came, whereby Annexer 1, Annexer 2, Annexer 3, Annexer 4 was there, whereby how much of disinvestment was allowed in each of the sectors and how much of foreign direct investment was allowed. I still remember the last category was in which there was no disinvestment allowed. It was like, nuclear, space, defense, all those things were there. SEBI started in 1988, and but it was, not empowered by Parliament. And when Manmohan Singh gave the speech in 1991, he empowered SEBI. And then SEBI has become the regulator. And I was very fortunate to see the entire journey. When I joined JM in 1992, within a week of my joining, the first circular of SEBI I remember had come. It was a 4-page cyclostyle. I don't know if you know what cyclostyle is about, because that time those days photocopies was not there. And from a 4-page guidelines, we've seen those guidelines going into thousands and thousands of pages. So that is the type of evolution which has taken place. A decision was taken that we would make software competent, and 5-year, 10-year tax holiday was given to software. But just going a step backward, I'm sorry, why did we get into this situation? We got into this situation, this bad situation, because we were totally dependent on Russia in terms of exports. All our exports were happening with Russia. It was a Cold War type of a regime. Our relationship with America and the world, European world, was not there. So we could export only to Russia. In 1990-91, that time Russia broke off. When Russia broke off, entire business stopped. Now you are able to understand and connect what is the importance of history, what is the importance of geopolitics vis-a-vis business is concerned, right?
Yes, sir.
And then what happened? The oil prices doubled by 2 times. Why? Why did it happen? It happened because the Iran-Iraq war had happened. Iran-Iraq war happened, the oil prices doubled by 2. So all our foreign reserve got drained out. Our exports, which are going, became zero. And we got into this type of a situation. And this type of a serious situation required this type of a serious action on behalf of the government. I remember, when the gold reserves were taken out and put to the Bank of England, the article, this story was exposed by Indian Express. There was a gentleman by the name of Shankar Iyer, So every part of the society has a rule. Somebody would say, I'm not interested in reading newspaper. No. I can tell you, having worked in Times of India, Bennett and Coleman, some of the best analysis, some of the best news, and some of the first business news come in the Economic Times and other newspapers. I'm not just going by one newspaper. One thing which I learned in my life, before you reach office, you should have read your business newspaper. So side by side, I'm sharing what my thoughts are. Now I will talk about the banking sector reforms which were there and how they came about. At that time, Narsimha Committee report was there, and interest rates were liberalized. Before that, interest rates were not liberalized. Bank's job was just to take money and give money. Interest rate liberalization took place. You'll be surprised to know bank rates have gone up to 18%, 19%, 17%. Bank rates. And I'm talking of 91, 92, 93, 94, 95, my starting of my career. Government took a decision to reduce the statutory reserve ratio. Thereby, there was more money available for the banks to give. That helped in terms of propelling the engine of the economy. Give more loan. You'll be surprised, that was the time when the new banks like HDFC and all the private sector banks came up. There was no private banks allowed. Foreign direct investment was allowed in these banks. And the SARFAESI Act came up because before that, what happened? Anybody would default, bank could hardly take any action in terms of taking over their property. And after the SARFAESI Act came, this is what happened. Now you understand what I'm trying to say? How much importance is there vis-a-vis the geopolitics is concerned? How much importance is there vis-a-vis the law is concerned? Unless and until you understand the law, you will not be able to make strategic moves. Everything is very, very finely knit. My career, essentially speaking, has been as an investment banker. I spent a lot of time in terms of capital markets is concerned. So I will share some thoughts with you. 1993-94, OTCI Exchange of India was brought in. OTCI Exchange of India is basically the over-the-counter exchange of India. It is sort of the parallel of Nasdaq. It failed, right? But there were a lot of learnings. So just remember one thing in life: anything which has been failing is a lesson for the future. And there is nothing like a failure in life. Anybody, by individuals, by governments, by anybody. Then I want to share, when I joined, there was a yellow color book which was given to me. I think it was a 200 pages book, which was, the book was a listing agreement. And in the listing agreement, during the last pages, there was CCI formula, controller of capital issue. Now, controller of capital issue basically gave the formula basis which evaluation of the shares had to be done. You'll be surprised to know Ranbaxy share would come at 10 rupees share plus for 10 rupees premium. Reliance share would come for 10 rupees for 30 rupees premium, because the valuation was controlled. With the SEBI guidelines coming in 1992, there was liberalization which took place vis-a-vis valuation is concerned. It was a free market. Now you decide what the valuation is. This was an amazing thing, free pricing mechanism which came in. And just to share with you, that was a time when, for example, a public issue is coming in. So everything was offline. There was nothing like online. There will be forms which will be printed. And just to share with you that amount of boom which came after 1991-92 liberalization, every day there was to be 7 to 8 public issues which are coming in the market. 7 to 8 public issues every day. The amount of money which was coming in, there used to be 1 kilometer lines. I still remember the Morgan Stanley mutual fund which came in. There was a 1.5 kilometer line which was there where my office was. 1.5 kilometer line. Because what used to happen, any issue which would come, that would get oversubscribed 20 times, 30 times, 40 times. Right? Those are the days. And just to share with you, there used to be stationery used to be printed in terms of people to subscribe for public issue forms. Assuming it is a 20 crore, 30 crore public issue, you know how much stationery was required? On an average, 10 to 15 truckloads of stationery was required. And logistics had to be built in, wherever the stationery would be printed, assuming in Delhi, and would reach within the next 2 days, 3 days to Calcutta, Bombay, Bangalore, Hyderabad, and all that. And each of the form would have a unique serial number. Because technology was not there that the form could be printed in different locations. And slowly the technology came, whereby this thing happened with computerization coming in. And with computerization coming in, the concept of DMAT came in. Earlier, the shareholders, the stock exchange had brokers, and the brokers used to be the richest guys in the place. There were more than 20 exchanges in India. Slowly, those 20 exchanges got reduced to 2. Bombay Stock Exchange and National Stock Exchange, right? So this is the type of reform, this is the type of things which happen. And I'd like to share with you, in terms of this opening up, how it happened, and how history is so much of relevant. That was the time I will remember 1997-98, we had done fundraising for Guru Gobind Singh Petroleum Refinery. That is a refinery which has been put up in Punjab. And investment was almost 10,000 crores. Then we had done, work in terms of, along with Indian Oil Corporation, in terms of, Jamnagar refinery, Bhavnagar refinery, each of them going to 15,000 crores, 20,000 crores. And that was, I'm talking about 20 years back. Huge amount of petroleum refining capacity was built in. And it was a very painful job, because doing that was not easy, because India was not having foreign reserves. We tied up with Kuwait, and different other countries to do that. Now look at the implication today. The implication today is amazing what has happened. For a country which was a net importer of oil produced, India has become a net exporter. For the first year, India has now exported $270 billion of refined oil products. Exporting, importing crude oil from Russia, Iran, doing a value addition per barrel of $17 and then selling it back to Europe from a country which is oil deficit. This type of investment which was made 25 years back, look at the premium which it is doing today. I'm just connecting the dots and sharing with you the broader line in terms of business is concerned. Today, we are sitting on a foreign reserve of $600 billion, and it doesn't happen like this. I'll not talk about the evolution of SEBI guidelines. We had times of evolution of SEBI guidelines. I remember, how mistakes were made, and SEBI kept on coming with guidelines. More mistakes were made. Learnings were there. When 7 to 8 public issues are coming on a daily basis, there was a time when almost 3,500 promoters disappeared. 3,500 companies listed on the Bombay Stock Exchange and National Stock Exchange. The promoters themselves disappeared. Those days, the prospectus would be 25 to 30 pages. Just to share with you, now the prospectus is 650 to 700 pages. So the amount of disclosure has changed. Then SEBI realized, and SEBI then made it compulsory that you have to put in your PAN card number, you have to put in your ration card number. Aadhaar was not there. I'm just trying to share how guidelines change. Substantial acquisition of shares of the M&A guidelines came in 1997. Again, new Avatar came in 2001. Buyback guidelines came in. Buyback, when you could buy back the shares. These were all financial structuring initiatives. Various new instruments came in the capital market, and SEBI basically opened the way. SEBI came up with so many guidelines. There was a lot of things which we copied from the West. We came up with the concept of book building. Book building is basically when you are basically not deciding the valuation, you're just giving a band and letting the market decide what is going to be the fine buy, right? It's like an auction type of a thing. Not only book building of equity, book building of debt also came in. For the first time, Indian Oil Corporation did book building along with National Highway Authority of India. National Highway Authority of India was the first PSU in India, which helped in terms of raising money for infrastructure projects is concerned. The government came with the guideline 54EC. 54EC, an exemption was made in the Income Tax Act, whereby anybody who is putting the money in a government company like National Highway Authority of India or Rural Electrification Corporation of India, which is linked to infrastructure development, we would get tax concession. These type of dynamic things were done. And today, when you are seeing that India has Guinness Book of World Records in terms of maximum amount of roads being laid, those foundations have been done on a piecemeal basis, right? If you see in the last 10 years, I will share with you, our last 10 years, our national highways has increased by almost 4 times. Our electrification of our railways has increased by almost 6 to 7 times, right? This requires a huge amount of money. So I'm just saying these were all capital market reforms which took place not in one go, but it happened regularly, gradually over a period of time. We had Indian companies going abroad and coming up with American depository fees, global depository receipts. So SEBI came up with guidelines for that. Then SEBI came up with an entire new avatar of guidelines because they were guideline 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 22 tak chala gaya tha, and we would be filing it, and our file had become so big. So SEBI came up and refined everything, and they came up with the disclosure of investor protection guidelines in 2000, whereby everything was compiled, brought together, contradictions were removed. Right? Now, if you don't understand this, you don't understand finance. And this is absolutely linked to business. And business is absolutely linked to geopolitics. And that entire thing is linked to marketing. And that is all linked to human resource. So anybody who says, "Hey, नहीं मेरे को तो finance देखना है," उसका लाइफ स्पैन करियर में 5 साल से ज्यादा नहीं है. While you may be a specialist, but that will only provide you first 5 steps. उसके बाद जो आगे के 50 steps हैं, that will not provide. So I was saying how infrastructure financing came in. You know, you'll be surprised to know one of the first securitization happened in a state like Punjab. Punjab government came up with a paper of securitization. Punjab Road, I remember, I'm forgetting the name of the company, but it was the Punjab Roads. So they did a securitization concept. They took government from the state government. State government gave guarantee basis the central government giving guarantee. Basis which the paper which was actually A grade was upgraded to AAA grade, and then they could raise the money from the market. Likewise, one of the first IPOs of infrastructure came in Noida. Noida toll bridge was made. That was one of the first toll bridge which was made. Now it has become free. For that, a public issue was brought to basically finance the toll bridge concept. You know, these things which we are taking it for granted कि हाँ गया तो अपना वो you know, you show that scanner and it scans and it, no, the foundations happened way back, and slowly they became, a lot of mistakes were made. They became robust models in due course of time. And I was talking about the buyback guidelines which came in, you know, SEBI brought in, so that helped companies a lot. Whenever the market would go down, companies which were good companies, they would buy back their own shares, right? And so they would be in a position to restructure their capital. Capital structure mechanism, buyback was a very effective restructuring mechanism. Lot of guidelines came in vis-a-vis capitalization of reserve and surplus are concerned. They came, then they went out because they found certain loopholes were there, but they were used in terms of capital structuring is concerned. So this is how it was. I talked about infrastructure. I talked about capital markets, you know, and so this was a wonderful journey. My request to you is to all of you to basically learn from it. Now, basically, we will try to reflect upon the new avatar. The new avatar in terms of what is happening vis-a-vis the digital economy is concerned, the startup economy is concerned, you know. Let me tell you one thing very clearly. You know, startup is not a new thing. Startup has always been there. The word startup was not there. The difference between startups of earlier times, when Dhirubhai Ambani started his business, being 8th class, you know, or Ghanshyam Das Modi started the Modi empire being class 2 pass, they did not have an option to fail. None of the entrepreneurs in the past had an option to fail. The startup culture whereby you have private equity guys and venture capital and the angel funds giving you money, you have an option to fail. All I'm trying to say is respect has to be given to those people who would sell the gold bangles of his wife to do a startup. That was a startup. But due respect to the new generation also, a lot of regards to them. And so before I come to that, I want to quickly talk about the foreign exchange market reforms which had taken place in a very quick this thing. You know, earlier exchange rate was not market based. There was a lot of government role in terms of the exchange rate is concerned. When government liberalized the exchange rate, linked it to market rates, exports became a lot of competitive. So the software boom which took place in India, it was a lot to linked with it. You know, 1947, dollar to rupees was approximately 1 rupees. 1 rupee is $1. Okay. Now we are standing at 85. You know. So when liberalization took place, if I remember, it was around about 25, 26 rupees. But our exports were not competitive. They became competitive when this type of a thing happened. Current account convertibility was brought in. So it's a fascinating story. Now, I will quickly come to the startup story and digitization story and share with you that you are sitting on a, you know, fantastic, I wouldn't call it you're sitting on a white horse, you're sitting on spaceships of dreams. this is the story of the last 30 years, which I shared with you. The last 30, 35 years belongs to you, right? Now, I will talk about the three pillars of a country. What are the three pillars of a country? The social part, the economical part, and the political part, right? These are three engines. Try to understand how these engines are working today and see what you are sitting on. You're actually sitting on a spaceship. Let's talk about the economic pillar, right? Economic pillar, let us talk about foreign direct investment in India. Foreign direct investment in India since 1947 is $950 billion. Okay? Okay?
Yes, yes.
In the last 26 months, it is $562 billion. Can you imagine? And it has come from 162 countries. It has come in 64 sectors, right? And it is not come in the top 5 cities. It has come in all the 31 states of India. It has come to 31 states of India. The growth is bottom up. Are you with me?
Yes, yes, sir.
I've already told you the $1 trillion story. It took 67 years, $2 trillion, $3 trillion. So where we are now at the moment, right? I would like to share with you the economical pillar as far as the country is concerned. 10 years back, we were number 10 in terms of world GDP is concerned, right? Now we are number 5, moving to number 2, number 4, and number 3. Which are the countries we have been able to move ahead? Russia, UK, France, Brazil, Italy. Next target is Germany, Japan, China, USA. The speed at which this development is taking place is not only confined now, but it happened in pandemic also. Just to share with you, India got $85 billion of foreign direct investment during pandemic. So that competency is there. And to share with you, 2/3 of the GDP by how much time do I have, Ruchita? Because I think we started 20 minutes late. Ruchita,
Yes.
do I have 15 minutes with me?
Actually, sir, there are a lot of questions coming in the chat box. Students want to ask
Yeah,
few things.
you're most welcome, but I will take them in the end. So I want to know
Okay,
how much time do I have? So 10 minutes for this thing, and how much time do I have for because we started I think at 10:20. Whatever you tell me.
so for the session, we can do 5 minutes more, and then we can proceed to questions.
Okay, so I talked about we talked about the economic pillar. Now I'm talking about the social pillar. And try to understand. BCG has come up with the data that anybody who is born in the year 2000, and during his lifetime, he is going to spend $2.4 lakh. 2.4 lakh dollars. So $2.4 lakh multiplied by 1.6 billion. This is the type of money which is going to be there in terms of captive consumption is concerned, right? So you're understanding the
Yes.
social pillar, the economic pillar, right? In terms of now looking into the digitization is concerned. Digitization, you know how fast we have moved. 2015, we were 123 world rank in terms of data consumption is concerned. Today, we are number 1, right? That is the speed at which is happening, right? In terms of financial transaction happening through digitization, India has done more financial transaction through digitization in the last 1 year, which is more than the total of the next 4 countries, which includes China, it includes Brazil, it includes America, all of them taken together. The scale and pace is acting as a multiplier. You all know about the number of unicorns being produced. Number of unicorns being produced in India in 2021 was approximately 29 unicorns per, 1 unicorn per 29 days. 2022, it has moved up to 1 unicorn per 9 days. This is the speed at which things are happening. Every minute, 30 people are moving from villages to cities. So that is the space of urbanization taking place. And I will not take more time. because Ruchita had given me 5 minutes. Fine. So this is what I wanted to share, so that you are sitting at the right time and you are all here in the right time, and learn your lessons from history. The toughest times have been overcome by each and every government of the nation. Each and every individual, whether in the village or elsewhere, has contributed towards it, whether it be the agriculture society. You know how agriculture is. India is the granary of the whole world, right? Look at pharmaceuticals. 50% of vaccines are being provided worldwide by India. That is the figures which are going up. And this is now where the tipping point is just started. Yeah, the race has just started, and you would be probably living in one of the most developed countries in the world, touch wood.
Okay, so now we will be taking the questions. Students can unmute yourself and ask the question. First, we have Amanat's question. Amanat, you can unmute yourself and ask the question.
Morning, sir. Thank you so much for this very informative session. So my question is, in these changing times, how do you address the needs and preferences of millennials and Gen Z in the BFSI
How do you
industry?
address the needs?
Changing needs and preferences of millennials and Gen Z like us customers in the BFSI industry.
So needs of millennials, these are all terminologies which we have basically been brought out, right?
Mm.
And millennials, basically people born after 2000, right? So as I just gave you the data, they would be consuming approximately 240,000 US dollar per during their lifetime, right? Now, as far as BFSI is concerned, let me put it very clearly. Penetration of insurance in India is amongst the lowest in the world. That is one very, very low hanging fruit, right? Penetration of mutual funds is again one of the lowest in the world. Capital markets penetration in India is one of the single digits, right? If you're asking me low hanging fruits, these are the two things which are absolutely low hanging. Yeah.
Thank you, sir.
Yeah, welcome.
Second, I would like to take Aniket's question. Aniket, you can unmute yourself and ask the question. Aniket Singh.
Good morning, sir.
Good morning.
Sir, my name is Aniket Singh. I am from Finance MBA 1. Sir, I want to ask you that you said about the liberalization process which occurred in 1991. And we know that how the economy grew after that exponentially. So my question to you is that why government delayed the process to 1991? If we have been liberalized much before that, then our economy would have been much better placed. If that is the case.
Very, very good question. Very good question. You know what happened is we were colonized by the British, and we were colonized by a corporate company. We were colonized by East India Company. There was a very big scare in the country, in the psychos of the country, that if we allow companies to come from outside, there will again be a East India Company coming in, and then we'll be colonized. That was the main reason why liberalization did not happen. And then when we were pushed to the wall, when I told you our foreign reserves came down to zero, and our export partner had disintegrated, the Soviet Union, we had no other choice but to pledge our gold so that we could have foreign reserves, so that petrol could be coming into the country and vehicles could be running.
Yes,
right? So that was when we were put to the wall, that this type of decision was taken by P.V. Narasimha Rao and Manmohan Singh jointly, and they stood like a rock to move ahead. Yeah.
Thank you, sir.
Welcome.
So due to paucity of time, maybe take just one more question.
Yeah, most welcome, whatever.
Okay, Laksha Gupta, you can unmute yourself and ask the question.
Morning, sir. Am I audible?
Yeah, be a bit away from the mic. Yeah, please go ahead.
So, sir, my name is Laksha Gupta. I'm from MBA 1 Marketing. My question to you is, we talked about India's GDP roadmap today and how we achieved this entire target of being a $3 trillion USD economy today. My question to you is, sir, India is aiming to be a $5 trillion economy by 2025. What do you think are the challenges that are in our road, and how do we overcome them to achieve our goal?
challenges and how we can overcome. If you ask me, the biggest challenge which is the worldwide recession which is taking place. India is the only country which is not affected by recession. So that is the biggest challenge, because business coming from abroad is likely to be affected. And the way to overcome is to use the biggest problem of recession as the biggest solution. So essentially speaking, if we are able to provide services, if you are able to provide food products, if you are able to provide processed products, if you are able to provide pharmacy, when the entire world is going down means their purchasing power is down. When their purchasing power is down, they are looking forward to sourcing things from different countries. Their trust in some of our neighbors is very low, who are the main suppliers. Their trust is still low. So they would basically be banking on somebody whom they see as fair, somebody whom they see as having been the COVID vaccine provider to the entire world, somebody who has always been there in terms of any type of a national or international disaster is concerned. So our trust level, our trust quotient has gone up. So we need to use our trust quotient, be intelligent, and see the entire recessionary world as the biggest opportunity which is going to help us and to make penetration over there and make them more dependent on us. That's it.
Thank you so much, sir, for the answer.
Welcome.
Thank you, sir, for patiently answering all the students' questions. The past hour has been full of learnings and insights for all of us. We greatly appreciate the valuable lessons you've shared with us today. With your permission, sir, may I now proceed to conclude this session with a formal vote of thanks?
Yeah, most welcome. Thank you so much for having provided me this opportunity. It's a pleasure to be with my alumni and my alma mater, and really grateful to all of you for having provided me this beautiful opportunity on this Saturday morning. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, sir, for your insights. The Indian financial landscape has undergone a revolution from LPG reforms to this day. You've helped us understand the turn about in the capital market, foreign exchange, the legacy created by the stalwarts of our industry. I am sure we will all carry this legacy and the treasure of the knowledge. On behalf of the entire batch, I would like to convey our gratitude to you for spending your time and enriching our minds. Thank you, sir.
God bless you, all of you. My best of luck to each one of you. Do well, be happy. God bless.
Thank you. Students are requested to stay back. Students, we will be having a 15 minutes break. You will have to join again at 11:10. We will be starting the session at 11:15. Till then, you can log off your video and audio. Be sharply back at 11:10.